Wir singen ab Ishem Yisborach Maseches Kesubos Daf Tes Zayin. The sugya is about Leikim Shalom. We're starting off a little bit earlier. We're starting off from this Gemara Omer Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina. There's a small sugya before that. Ein is a mafater as a Yisoyim a potter. Omer Rabba Mamo Machloikis. No, it's not. Everybody agrees to that. Rabbi Yossi Aglili. Ram Kebakiva Yesh La Knas Iknos Shel Atzma. Yisoyim means she doesn't have a father. So there's a Machloikis later on. And basically in Rabbi Akiva by Shnish Arsav and his Garshav. That's later on in Eileen Iris. Who gets the Knas? Naish Shnish Arsav and his Garshav, Halacha Dalit. Basically, the Oim Ein Lo Knas. Kilim Yesh the Knas Knos Shel Atzma. Because question is, if the father doesn't get it, then maybe she gets it. Or we say nobody gets it. The same thing here. A Torah says they're talking about a father. Whereas there's no father. What do we say? Do we say nobody gets it or she gets it? So the Gemara Reis Misnita Omer Kain, and Misnita says that the Tishas have a Knas. Chus is Mloi Shalosh Shom Echad. Talking about a shvuya or a geyoris, she doesn't have a father, so we still say she gets knas. So we see that she gets knas. So I was going to ask, but Tani tachas she'inal rabbis esa yisoyma the knas divrei sagli. As Sagli holds you do get knas, even though later on he says by his Arshim of Garshav does not get. Here he says that she does get. So even there was a father b'shas the ma'anazana, then we say that she's nisraba to get kanas, even though the father dies later. That's the case here. When it basically says, I would say Soima means that b'shas ma'anas, the father was still kind. If the father was nifter already, then nobody gets it. Okay, now we start the sugya of Leikim Shalom. We know it's in Bavli, also Masechet Kesubos, it's a very big sugya. Shalom is also, both of them have a long sugya on this inyan of Leikim Shalom. Start off like this. Start off with a Mishnah Masechet Malkus. Elei not Leikim, it says Baal Choysa. Mishnah says Vechta Malkus, one of the Malkus is Baal Choysa. Hachat Omer Leik, Kat Omer Shalom. What's going on here? We know in Leikim Shalom. So here it says you pay knas, and there it says you get malchus about chesed. Depends. Same answer is in Bavli. If it has asra, as malchus. There's no asra, there's tashlum. That's our Mishnah. So without asra. That's what he holds. If it's both together, you give malchus. Maybe you get both. You can't give two punishments. Maybe only tashlumen. So the Gemara says no. That pasha talks about two rishiyas, and then it says it means if you have two rishiyas, you have mammon and malchus, you should only give malchus. That's the Mishnah Masechta Malchus. Hisru boy, you get only malchus. There's no knas, and lo hisru boy, that's our Mishnah's knas. So the Gemara brings down about the same thing. Even Chayv Malchus Shoygim Kturim not Tashliman. Since if there would be a Sra, there wouldn't be Tashliman. Because he agrees in principle that Malchus takes over. So even if it's not his Shruboy, it's also there's no Tashlum. So how's our Mishnah? What's Pshat our Mishnah? How can you say our Mishnah that is Tashlum? So if you go to Shlokish, then Eila Narish Hashem Knas. Eila is Shruboy and Leike. So how we make our Mishnah? Pasuk Meir on Leike Shalom. And our Mishnah can only go according to a Meir that holds Leike Meshalom Ba'alma. So and according to Chachamim Take. There's no knas because since there's malchus and even as like history boy, there's the same rule that you can't give tashlumen if there's a malchus involved. So where's the man know this din that like him shalom? He learns it out from Moitzi Shemra. It says v'yisro is a malchus. Answer is a mom. We see you can give both. But one on the chedusha yotza Moitzi Shemra. The Rosh yotza chedusha and neither. What's the chiddush with the sham? Come, and then Maschai with the Bura, the can, or the Maschai with the Bura, or the cane, not alone many. The Ache can ein not alone many. Lloyd Anshalem Makis can learn out. You should give. And the language here means I don't know what it means. Like Anshalem Makis. So it's a schwer lotion. But the Kavonim has to be that you cannot learn out the din of Leikim and Shalom from there. Because it's the Chedusha Yatz. Like Anshalem Makis. You can say Anshin imakas means Einish means mammon. I'm just trying to fix it to make sense. Anshin imakas. If you can't learn out, you should give both together. Okay. Now the Gemara is going to ask another question on the sugya of Leikim Hashem. Leichen Amar Rabbi Shem Yechen Amazed B'Chel B'Shog B'Korban Master Boy Leikim maybe Korban B'Kol Leikim Hashem. You see a different place. Rabbi Yechen himself. We're going to point to Rabbanan, obviously, right? Rabbanan say anyone Leikim Hashem. But a different place Rabbi Yechen says that it's a case Leikim Hashem. What's that? Person eats chaylev b'mezid. He knows there's a lav, but he does not know there's a carbon. Very interesting story. Does not know that you bring a carbon. Very interesting halacha. I don't think it's brought down in Bavli. You master him. You know, if you eat chaylev, you're gonna get malchus. So and he eats it. He does not know if you eat chaylev, you have to bring a carbon. So he says you get malchus and you bring a carbon because the gab of the carbon you're showing. Very interesting halacha. Anyway, we see there that you like him a shalom, you get malchus and carbon costs money. So the Gemara name. Carbon is not muscle based. So that's not an issue of like Hakul Moidim, everybody agrees. Shein Momen Eitzel Misa means Chayve Misa Shoygigim, everybody agrees that there's no tashlumen. Now, da Maki Behemit Shal Menach Mius. Ma Maki Behemit collected by Shoyg the Meza the Chayve Momen. Maki Ones Achel by Shoyg the Meza the Poitrim Momen. The Gemara about brings down the famous Rosh Hashanah Bechizkiah that Chayve Misa Shoygigim to the Tashlim. Ma Pedigen but Momen Eitzel Makis only if it's Shoy Loy Asra Boy on Makis. If he still has to pay money. B'yoichin ein Momen Eitzel Misa yesh Momen Eitzel Makis. It learns out just like Misa, there's no din of Tashlum, the same with Malchus. I'm the time the Shlimelok. You should really know that Malchus has the same din like Misa. says Rosh. No, it says no Rosh. In Chuva Misa, no, Chuva Makas Mash, no, Chuva Ein Moment Tel Misa, Chuva Makas Ein Moment Tel Makas. There is Shava that there's no din tashlumen when there's Makas. Nothing about Ishi Amar. So now this is the first terrace. We had actually already two shatim, B'yechem Ishlakish, how to explain the steer from Makas and Masech Kesubos. Nothing about Ishi says the third Mahalach here. He says no. Not kind of not. We're brings down also about the Nair begins. He holds Nair Yesh Laknas. Fakert. If there's Mammon and Makas, they're both together, then we give money. So in this case, where there's money involved, you just pot yourself with money. Begeres, there's no money. There's no knas by begeres. So Mela, that's a mission of Sechta Makas, then you get Makas. Now you should knas, but in la Makas. It's really like a leichad ike, tervayim, moinem mishalom milka leilok. Begeres, yesh la Makas, in the knas. If I move in la, wages of gam, there's still money involved. So why do you say about begeres that you give Makas? After you want to bonus, so I guess I'm going to pause it, pitatu, oy, shamachalei. Let's say there's no issue of money there. So then you get malchus. There's no money involved. It was pitu or there's mechila. So this is malchus malchus lim shalom and like vilki vishalom. So then let's say like before. There's also shemishach mechayev to chemesh teishus. Vilki vishalom. How does he know that if that's both together you only give tashlumin? Because that's what he holds. He holds that if you have both, for example, by a naira, then we say that's the Mishnah in Kesubos. That Mishnah says you pay. Because money overrides it. Because he learns out from Edom Zayman. One time, Edom Zayman Sham Ben Loik, Kova Sham Ben Loik. One time, the Beis Rishik, the Vish Ose, Eshem HaKois of Yosef like the Vish Ose. You should only give Malchus if that's going to take away all his riches. Yotzezeh, Sh'amelei, Amay Shalom, so forget about Malchus, just let him pay. That's a drasha from the Pasuk, where we can learn out that when there is two things involved, you don't give Malchus, you just ask him to pay. Masnita Pliga Vishlakish. Brings down a Mishnah. Oichel Truma amazing Mishamas a Ken, Mishamas a Chumish. What's the Mishnah say? There's a Truma, and a guy eats it b'mezid. He knows he's a Zar, he's Chai Mislei Shamayim. He still pays the Karen. And the item is Ma'ishid Omar Mishalam Nicha. So we understand, according to him, when there's two things involved, you pay money. And the item is Omar Hisra Loike Mezid Mishalam, what's the Mezid Esra? Okay. You can still understand they're talking with Arasra. So he holds that usually there's malchus, but if there's no malchus for the arasra, then the Mishnah says there in Masechta Trumas that you pay. And Mishnah Shemaim is not enough to pata for the shlumen. Malchus, there's no malchus because you are not masra, so that's why you pay. So how does he learn that Mishnah? According to him, this din that the Zar eats truma of mezid has to holds according to Reb Meir that holds like a mashal. So even if it be master, you still have to pay. And if you're not master, according to Reb Meir, you pay. So hold on a second. This is good for the Mishnah. How about the pasuk, open pasuk and chumash? It says in the Torah if a person eats truma, he has to pay. So that's a big problem. According to Rabbi Yochanan, since there's malchus b'mezid, so even b'shoigig, there's no tashlumen. So how could the Torah say to open pasuk and chimish that malchus b'shoigig does not part of tashlumen? And the mitzvah of shlokish choimish carbon. He holds that it's like a carbon. So the choimish is not considered like a payment of money. It's like a carbon. We had before that carbon is not an issue. We had before already this. Carbon is considered like the things that you do for Shemayim. So when he pays his choimish, it's like he's doing a carbon. Because for the time a choimish carbon, Karen carbon. So what's with a Karen? He pays a Karen and a choimish. A Karen is for sure not a carbon. Wenn Shlomo steht Omer Karen Knas, in Tama in Shalom Truma, and Chum Misakono in nice Truma. Then Masha Ochel Mishal Nicha. So we see he has to pay Chum Misakonim. Can't pay Truma. We see from that there's a certain knas. He has to pay more than he did. He can't just use truma for payment purposes. So we see that the Karen is a knas. And he's trying to ask again, so we see it's not a carbon. So it's schwer. It's schwer. How can you do both things together? ואויד מהדור מדתוני אוכל תרומה תמם ושם חום טהרן ושם חום תמם יוצא. Let him eat some chayavli, don't much can knas. You see, you have to pay chulun tahor. So all these things are just making the kasha strong. If it's a knas, chaimish knas, karen knas, it's not a korban. So why? How can you do both things according to Shlokish? If there's malchus involved, how is the payment? Ella, daite, the omer tam hako ibachzanish. Okay, that's just the kasha zom nice loch. Leish shalom omer. It's exeris hakosef here. Exeris hakosef. Just like the Zoimim, it's exeris hakosef that it's against the rule. You pay. Here also it's against the rule. And it's against the rule, and I would say it's only b'shoigig. B'meizatake, it's not b'shoigig. Torah is mechadish that there's a payment. Okay, we finished now. It says Zion Amid Aleph Amid Base.